School choice can generate fierce debate these days about charter schools, vouchers, magnet programs, and others. But at one time in Tennessee's history, school choice might have referred to what's known as clandestine black schools, a covert and bold movement to educate African Americans in the South decades before the Civil War and emancipation.
I think that clandestine is an appropriate terminology just because of the danger, the risk involved in this whole notion of educating blacks during the slave period.
Dr. Crystal DeGregory is an education historian in Nashville. She says clandestine black schools were a patchwork movement done in secrecy and always under threat from the power structure in the southern U.S.
During this period, it's very dangerous to challenge the power system. I mean, that's what education presents, a challenge to the system that says not only are you separate, not only are you unequal, but in many instances that you are unhuman, you are mere property. They weren't just threats. They were real things that happened in the lives of these people, and they were very afraid. It's just a miracle that they persisted in spite of these things. I mean, we're told of the story in the 1870s in the Middle Tennessee area of Julia Hayden, who is a student at Central Tennessee College, which was the forebearer to Meharry Medical.
Julia Hayden was just 17 years old when she arrived in Murray County to operate a clandestine school for blacks.
She gets into this one-room school and she's teaching in this county, and she's there for just 3 days before she's shot dead.
Despite the terror, clandestine black schools continued to operate in Tennessee until after the Civil War, when freedmen's schools were established by white missionaries offering public education to ex-slaves, the precursors of Fisk University and other educational institutions. But it was the earlier clandestine schools that paved the way for what ultimately became America's public school systems.
So we find that in the South, especially, as educational opportunities become more and more available for blacks, they also, too, become more and more available for whites. So blacks are really ahead of the curve in this period, especially rank and file, what we would consider ordinary black folk. Ex-slaves, now freedmen, had a real desire to get education by any means necessary because it was seen as a pathway to every other success.
For the Southern Education Desk, I'm LaTanya Turner, Nashville Public Television.
The Southern Education Desk and American Graduate are made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.